Hello.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Oh, Carlitos,
I'm good, thanks.
come here. So, this is my son, Carlitos,
Hi,
and
nice to meet you.
like far away, but he can
Oh,
hear us.
okay. All right, cool. Perfect.
Yeah, there he is.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad you guys could all hop on. Let me get this pulled up here really quick. So give me the backstory a little bit. Like, how did you, hi, nice to meet you.
It's
Um,
like
like how'd you guys find us? What led you here?
like I was just searching, for online, online income, and then
Yeah.
like I I had a bad experience of signing up with one of the mentors for digital marketing
What was it or who is it?
or agency profits.
I haven't heard of them, but I'm sorry. That's
Yeah. So and so I was like, the support that they have wasn't really good. And they don't have the like you have like an application that, it's just like sort of
Mhm.
you already have that system.
Yeah.
Have that. They like it's like, when I was supposed to do digital marketing, it's sort of like the same, right? It's like you have to create a website for your customer and then something like that. And then, you can have the customer like give you with what you have, like give you monthly payment,
Yeah, yeah.
right? You
Mhm.
retain the customer as long as you make business for them, something like that. So, and that those were that was his pitch when when I tried to join him, and then he said, I'm gonna help you make money online, but there was really no support. There wasn't a system
Mm.
like what you have, and like you have to do it on your own, like all totally from scratch and something like that. So
It
yeah.
it can be, yeah,
Over.
and I think I just looked him up just because I was curious. It sounds like he teaches a lot of social media, right? Is that kind of what you learned, like social media ads or something, or
Yeah, social, Facebook,
yeah,
and then you
okay.
go into you advertise, or you get the attention of those
Yeah,
niches which are like, of course, the same
sure, for sure.
contractors, the like those are realtors, and then
Yeah.
the dentists, people who don't have the time to create their own website and would rather rely on you
Mhm.
providing service for them, something like
Yeah.
that.
No, definitely. And I think, yeah, it just depends on the niche and all that stuff. Social media can be a little difficult, especially with ads. It's a lot to learn. I think a lot more than people estimate, it's pitched as simple, but I mean, I've been doing this business for over 10 years, and I think running ads was probably one of the harder things that I learned, just because it's so constant, ever changing, you always have to be working, and um that's not what we want to do. We want something that is kind of like build it, set it, go, and ads work great for certain things, right? But yeah, it's just very dependent on that. So I can see where not having a community in that aspect would not be beneficial because there's lots of questions when it comes to that side of it for sure.
So
Um,
yeah, when we joined, it was supposed to be like Carlitos and I were supposed to be doing it, but it was like hard for us because
yeah,
we are
yeah,
not like, we're not good with marketing, and we're not like, so
no, for
it was
sure.
it was it was really we weren't really able to do anything. We were not like
Well,
nothing
I'm sorry.
for
Listen,
nothing.
it's never fun to go through that. I mean, I've done it, I've done other stuff myself. And, you know, I don't think that even other courses that I've joined too, have not had the same level of kind of like support and community. I mean, I'll give you my backstory a little bit just so you kind of know, who I am. I've actually known Dan, the guy who started all this, since college. So like we went to Oregon together. our kids have grown up together. I mean, I've known him for 18 years, and I used to be a teacher. So I taught fifth grade for a little while. I had
Mhm.
my daughter at the time, she was 2, and then I found out I was having twins. So that was
Mhm.
my aha moment of like, okay, I'm gonna have a 2-year-old and newborn twins that, I mean, I can't go back to work, it just wasn't logistically possible, financially, it wasn't possible. Um, so like I knew what Dan was doing, back then, but I didn't really care. Like, I mean, again, I was in my own career, whatever. It didn't matter to me until life kind of made me pivot. And yeah, that's when I called him and I said, okay, so like, what's this internet thing that you're doing? And, he explained it to me like on a very basic level, like every business needs leads. Okay, I get that. And like as a consumer, I pick up my phone all day long. I need something, I Google it. And listen, we pick the top couple things, right? I mean, that's just how it works, like statistics, everything. So I understood where I could make money from it. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it, and here we are 10 years later. So, it really does work. It's a real business. You got to put effort and time into it. Like I'm not saying it's gonna kill you with time, but you treat the saying how it goes, treat it like a hobby, you get paid like a hobby, like treat it like a business, you get paid like a business. And, that is the reality of this. It's not rocket science. It's just consistency that I think really makes, the biggest difference in everything. So our model, focuses more on organic. So meaning like, building the website, not a funnel, because when you're running ads, it's more funnel based. This is a true website that you build, and you get it ranked, using SEO tactics that will teach to the top. So if I'm searching, Las Vegas plumber, or whatever the case is, my website would come up first. And then that's where the leads funnel through. The nice part about it is that once it's there at the top, I mean, you're kind of there. Like you don't really, I mean, like I won't say that you don't put any effort into those sites ever again, but it's very minimal, like a blog post a month or, whatever the case is. Like it is definitely more leave it alone, set it, kind of thing, rather than running like a ads based business where you have to be in that ad or changing it up constantly to, refresh, right? Because you're targeting a different group of people, from organic.
Mhm. Okay.
So anyways, that's my backstory a little bit. So you kind of, I can, I'm an open book. I can show you the course. We can go over questions. I mean, just kind of whatever you guys need from me, to see if this is truly something that, you can see yourself doing ultimately.
Yeah. So the thing why we needed to get this, get this started, and because I really am interested in earning
Mm-hmm.
online online income, because I don't want to be tied to, my work, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Right now I'm not working because I just lost my job. But
Yeah,
I'm still looking for work, and I'm thinking, why not pursue this and really work on it while I'm
yeah,
still on a break and I'm still getting paid
yeah.
paid
I mean, that's even better, right?
employment
Like,
income,
yeah,
unemployment income. Right?
I, well, it's true. I mean, listen, like I said, I had no background in this. I mean, I was a teacher, like that's what I knew how to do. And, you know, I quickly realized when I got into this and started learning, there's just so many different ways that you can monetize these skills. Like I've had so many opportunities in life, like that have kind of, I've been able to capitalize on because I know how to drive clients, right? I mean, that's the lifeline to any business, in a sense. If you could have the best product in the world, but if you're not seen, I mean, that's the issue. I mean, you're never, going to make it in that regard. So I think that with this model specifically, I mean, you can just, it really is your own. You can grow it as big as you want. You can grow it as small. Like there isn't, a right recipe to how, it's supposed to be done in the sense of like, I've built up my business. I made plenty of money, but like, I never want to be an ePay. Like, I don't want to be a Dan. Like, that's just not, I've never had those.
100, what's it? 160,000 a month.
Dan makes a lot more than that, but like, I mean, it's just, I think everyone has different life goals. I have my thing for me. I mean, my kids are older now. My daughter's 12 and the twins are almost 10. I mean, I'm an Uber driver at this point, I'm in, out, sports, this, all the things. I need freedom. Like I don't have time, like that's why this worked for me so well, was because I was able to work on it at night or after I got the kids to bed, really just wherever it could fit into your life. So like the flexibility is what is so vital to me.
Mhm.
Um, I have 2 hours this day, great, at this time, where tomorrow I might not have any, but that's okay. Cause you really can make up and truly have your own schedule, so sky's the limit, obviously, whatever you want to grow from it. But yeah, the flexibility is what I could never have a job again. Let me tell you that. Like I would be fired probably. And I've never been fired in my life, but like, I just don't like I get up and do what I want all the time. And I think that's very powerful, to not be tied.
Good job.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, but anyways, listen, I mean, I'm sure you guys watched some of the videos, right? Like,
We did. And
okay.
Ricky has some questions. He said,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, okay, maybe explain it again, like how it works, right?
Yeah. I could like show you the course and then do you guys, let me ask you this, like, do you understand kind of the model of the business? Does that make
I
sense?
understand because I watch it fully and I
Okay.
really was paying attention, but I don't know about this too because when I asked them to watch, I'm not sure if they really
It's okay.
understand.
It's all good. Um, I mean, I'll explain it as simply like as I can, without visuals, but what our goal is, right, is to bring customers to local business.
No, go ahead and explain.
Yeah. So like what we'll teach you guys how to do, among a lot of other things, but this is the core, is first off, we find a niche. So like we'll do niche research, and I can show you that here in a second, of what would be a good industry like in your area, or you can do this anywhere in the world, right? Truly, wherever there's internet or Google, but we'll look at different locations and we kind of find what we call a low hanging fruit, industry to get into. So whether that's, we'll stick with plumbing, okay, for like the example, but let's just say we, Toronto plumbing. Okay, great. Now we find the niche that we want to focus on, and then we build a website for it. Okay. So with that website, it's not like it's a normal looking website. You have a contact us page, homepage, thank you, all that kind of stuff. The key is that you're getting that website to the top of the search engine. So like if you guys needed a plumber and you're going to type in, plumber near me or Toronto, whatever those keywords are, my site would pop up first. So you'd click on there, right? And then through like our call tracking system, which I can show you too, all of those calls and texts and contact forms, they get forwarded to a plumber, because obviously I'm not going to do the job. So like, that's what they're paying you for. There's so many local businesses, truly, they have no knowledge of how to do this, right? I mean, they know what to do in their trade. They're, build a roof, fix a pipe, whatever the case is, but they don't know how to drive clients. And especially that's such a need, they're reliant on a lot of these bigger companies like a Home Advisor, Thumbtack, things like that, that just totally, screw them from a business side of it, from leads. But that's their only option, so that they got to go with it. But it really is a value. I mean, literally people are willing to pay a lot of money for leads if they're quality. And the other, great part about this side of it, from a difference of organic, which is kind of what we'll teach, right? Rather than like an ad based, is that when I'm searching as a consumer, right? Like when I'm typing in plumber near me or whatever the case is, there's an intent, right? Whether that's either to research it right now, I'm ready to call the plumber, book that service, whatever it is. It's much different than an ad, right? Because ads are being shown to you, targeting That's why ads work so well for e-commerce. You know, like, I mean, I've bought a lot of things I didn't need because I saw the ad, you know, like, but
True.
I'm not really searching for a lot of these other services. If I need a plumber, I need a plumber. So I'm gonna figure that, you know, like it's a definitely higher quality of a lead rather than running ads ultimately. So, and that's where the passive side of it comes in too. Like I said, you build these websites once, Google puts the authority on that website and it stays, because there's not a lot of competition there, it's easy to do and it just kind of keeps in that spot, right? So we're taking up real estate online, we'll call it online real estate for that you just kind of let the calls come through and then let your, service provider do their job and you can get paid for it. So that's kind of the main idea behind it.
Mhm. Okay.
That makes sense.
So, okay, yeah, makes sense. But
Okay.
when I was watching the video, when I forgot his name. Not
Uh,
that, the other guy,
ePay.
the
ePay.
Ipe. Yeah, when I was watching Ipe, explain it, I'm not sure if I got it right, but like building the website is part of, the application, the app that you use, or is it?
Yeah, we teach you how to do it. It's really simple, honestly. I'll show it to you. We've created this web builder. Honestly, this is so much technology has changed to the point where it's easier now than it even was when I started. Like when I started, I had to sit there and write 1,500 words about pest control. It was horrible. Like I hated it. Like it was just not fun for me. But, I knew that I needed to get it done. So it's fine. But now with AI and, all these other amazing things, that only makes our job easier because, it's pretty much
Yeah.
like here, do that. Um, this is what Snaps looks like. So
Is
we
it like sorry, is that Snaps? It's your application. It's not available to the market, right?
correct. And I'll say this too. You don't have to use Snaps because I also think that's important. Like, I don't want people to feel like, oh my gosh, this is the only thing you can use. Like, there's some students that come in that have an IT background or tech much more heavy than we do. That's fine. If you want to build your own stuff, like it doesn't matter what program you use. We're just not techie people. So like we need something that's simple, right? Like I'm not trying to be a web developer, like I want to get this site up because the site is the asset that's going to get me the leads. That's all it's used for, at the end of the day.
Mhm.
But yeah, these are like the templates. So there's hundreds of templates that you can pick. So like if we're going into landscaping, it would build this out for you just like this. You just have to go in and change the colors if you want, the pictures, the words and make it, you know, for your area. But it's pretty straightforward, after that. And we'll go through this, click by click, step by step in the training as well.
Mhm.
This is the training. So this whole section is video by video on what we want, you know, the sites to look like, basically.
Outs, logos, text blocks, tabs. Let's just add one real quick.
So we really do try to make it simple. Like we're all pretty simple people. Like we just want to make it easy. And that's our philosophy behind the teaching of it too. So you'll
Okay.
learn kind of every piece of this.
Mhm. So it's all there, and we just have to go through, like when we're building, we just have to go through the steps and follow along, right?
Yeah, this is kind of the process of the course. I'll lay that out too. And I don't know how your other courses were laid out, but I'm assuming they're pretty much very similar. This is the
We
main course, right?
don't have that. that because they don't have that. Like they're like you're pretty much on your own. What they have was you know, just like how to market yourselves, how to spend in Facebook ads so that, you know, and then
Yeah.
call this uh
Yeah. That's, it's unfortunate because like, I think that sometimes even like, those other courses, like, it's not necessarily that what they're teaching is bad, right? It's just they're not teaching it properly, so that makes it bad, right? They're not like, you're not going to learn, from that way. Where, I mean, we've been around for over 10 years, just even from a course perspective. I mean, Dan's been doing the model himself, I mean, since 2008. So, I mean, that's a long time, like, and that's where I think a lot of this, comes in. We have a ton of experience. We know how this works. I know what problems you're going to run into because I've done it for so long. Like, we can just really kind of teach and combat that process, the best we can. But how this is laid out, this is the main course. It's 40 hours from start to finish, about 40 hours from start to finish. Each module like builds on each other, right? So you're going to start out like you have your welcoming you, get started, that kind of stuff. Then you're going to go into your goals, your foundation. Why are we doing this? The plan of attack through the process of it, monetization, how are we going to make money? Like, that's why we're here. So, we'll kind of get more of the back end of the business stuff done. And then we go into, this section, which is all about niches. Like, we dive heavy into the research of why we're doing that. What should we be looking for? You get a lot of help with this too. So I'll show you our Facebook group, which I know you kind of mentioned. We do 2 live group calls a month, not a month, sorry, a week, every Tuesday and Thursday. Okay. And then they're all recorded as well. And then you also get a link for a calendar that you can book one-on-one calls with. So, we like to give you some guidance and say, hey, get through like X, Y, and Z, and then book a call. And we'll hop on a Zoom, 15 minutes, whatever. We'll go over what you learned and kind of green light the next steps, right? Because I just think that, like I said, it's not rocket science what you're learning, but
you do have to get through the
yeah,
course.
I mean, listen, this is all new, right? Regardless of what background you guys have, this is a new process, and you just have to mentally kind of just wrap your head around it. And that's where you're going to feel confident to go, right? And we all know that, like, we've all experienced it. I did, again, I've done it, so I know where the roadblocks were for myself. And I think that just being able to have those quick little check-ins really do make a difference, in your guys' success. Not that we're the reason why, but I do think it's helping reassure you guys that, hey, okay, I'm doing this right, right? Or like, it's just small little things like that. So the support is very, dialed when it comes to the processes of that. Not only from, one-on-one perspective, but also just, like I said, in the Facebook group, we have a dedicated support team that literally just like answers questions all day. Like I said, this is the group, we have live calls. So those are usually like an hour and a half
Okay.
ish. We go over new stuff all the time, or sometimes we'll do a Q&A, or we just listen to what you guys are telling us, right? Like, if we see a lot of questions about this kind of process, like, we'll do a live on that, right? It's just very fluid to figure out what we can do to help, and it's, yeah, just a really, really active community. So, you can see like this is all posted within the last couple of days, and yeah, it's just, we're all kind of in this together, right? We get to learn from each other and, have each other in our back pockets, which is really cool too. So, because that was probably like my biggest fear when I started, was I knew it worked. Like, I mean, like I said, I've known Dan for a very long time. Like, I knew it worked for him, but I'm like, man, like, can it work for me? Like, and that's just the same little mustard seed of doubt that I think everyone kind of has, right? Like fear until you experience it yourself and do it. I also knew that I had way too many people like in my back pocket like this, right? Like if I didn't know the answer, somebody does. And I have access to that, right? And I think that that's a very reassuring thing, especially when you're new and you're just still learning. Like that happened to me many, many times. Like I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know the answer. So I would just go in the group and ask a question. Great. They knew. So like their knowledge was my knowledge, you know, and it's a really powerful tool to have. So community makes a difference for sure.
Oh, okay, that's good. So I was just wondering, um, you know, do you teach what, like, I know, you know, we have to choose our own niche, but is it like part of, you know, the teaching, like, you know, this is the best niche to, you know, when you
Yeah.
go.
No, I laugh because I hear that all the time. Here's what we do. We dive heavy into niches. There is no perfect niche. I tell this to everyone. Like, I wish there was, but there's not because, you know, like I live in Florida, okay? And you guys are in Toronto. I saw it when you first got on the call, I saw snow on the ground. Like, snow removal is great for you guys. Like, that's a great niche, right? But it'd be horrible.
Okay, during the winter, yeah.
Well, yeah, but usually seasonal, but in snow removal, usually is done by like a landscaper or things like that, right? So they summertime grass, wintertime, you know, snow, whatever. But like I would never go into that niche in Florida, obviously, because we don't get snow. So does that make snow removal a bad niche? Absolutely not. It's all there's variables that will teach you to look for. So, you know, we'll help you with that for sure. I promise you, like, there's no, we'll definitely guide you in what we wouldn't get into. Like, that's the better way to put it. Like, hey, I wouldn't get into, you know, these niches for these reasons, you know, and I just think there's thousands of industries, honestly. Like, I send you guys a list that has 2,100 different niches on it. Like, it's, there's so much, you know, like, and you just need those couple to start out with. And again, you'll kind of figure it out. You almost naturally, you know, organically find your way of what you like doing too. Like, I mean, I've worked in a lot of different industries and being honest, like I worked with real estate agents one time. I was like, never again. I just didn't like it. I didn't like working with them. It was just not my thing. So I don't touch that industry because I don't like it. And that's totally a personal reason. It has nothing to do with the industry. You know, I just didn't like dealing with real estate agents. So like, you know, that was it. But I mean, I think that's just kind of the natural progression of the course and what you learn. You really can make this business what you guys want it to be, right? And it's not cookie cutter. So lots of different options, you know, but you'll have a lot of help with it. So
But you don't concentrate on just one niche for you. For like, are other people also in the group? You,
yeah, I mean, again, I think it's dependent on what you want, you know. I would tell you this just from an advice standpoint. I would never tell you to start with just one because I think that again, you don't know what you don't know. So jumping into a niche and saying, "Oh, I'm only going to do concrete." Well, you could be missing out on a lot of other things, right? Like it could be like my real estate agent story. Like maybe you don't like working with, you know, like you just don't know. So when I have you guys go through your due diligence, like I like to have you pick, you know, at least a variety, like maybe 3 or 4 different industries that you can start researching and like looking at. And there's some students that build their business, they have like 10 different niches, right? And there's some students that really hone in on the one that they like working with, and that's what they roll with. So again, there's no right or wrong. I just think that the beginning stages specifically, you need to see the process through. You know what I mean? Like your first deal is never going to be your best deal. Like that's just the reality of it. Because you don't, you know, it's the first one. It's only going to get better, bigger, you're going to learn more, things like that. So I think that it's about getting your first site up, getting the leads coming through, going through the process of, you know, renting out your leads, and then we just rinse and repeat, right? And you rinse and repeat, and new opportunities come up that are only gonna kind of light your path of which way you want to go. So that's the best answer I could give. I won't say like you have to do a specific niche, but you know, I think eventually you might hone in on a few because you become the expert when you've done, you know, 5 pest control sites or 5 plumbing sites. Like you already know the industry, you know the pain points, you know the profit margins, things like that. So just kind of up to you, your choice.
Sorry about this one. I'm not being ignorant on this thing, right? So,
No, you're fine.
so what you call this? So once you find a niche, okay, for instance, you're saying plumbing. So how are we going to make funds in there? So are we looking for a certain a corporate, a company, or a single proprietorship thing, and we do
Yeah.
it in the website, something like that?
So that's a good question. So the way that we'll teach, right? The whole aspect of this process is we own that website. So I'm not working for a plumber, right? So I'm doing the niche research to figure out if I think it's a good industry to build a site that I would own, because the leverage in this business comes from the fact that I own those leads. They're mine. Even though I'm not a plumber, they're mine. So I'm going to sell, you know, rent those to, you know, whatever industry that's in plumbing. And when you're looking for a business to pass off the leads to, I mean, honestly, like I would go on like the 3rd page and find a business. It's as simple as picking up the phone and saying, hey, you know, my name's Sarah, you know, I own a local marketing company. Like I have, you know, Billy Bob that needs, you know, their kitchen sink fixed. Can you do that for them? Yeah. Okay, great. Here's their name. Here's their number. Give them a call. Obviously, you're not going to be the middleman the whole time. It's setting up that relationship, you know, with the plumber, but that's what it is. I mean, at the end of the day, here's the thing. Almost every business wants leads, wants customers, right? Like when you're calling them with the approach of, I already have it, do you want it? Much different conversation than, oh, hey, I can set up some ads for, like, they all know that. They all know they can have ads set up. They know all this marketing. They just want their phone to ring. That's what they care about at the end of the day. So we're taking that approach, you know, an equation and flipping it. So now it's a very easy yes or no. Okay, they don't want it. Well, guess what? There's 50 other plumbers that do. So, you know, like you're never really out in that sense because you can work with any plumber. You know, you're not getting stuck working with that one specific person because we're building a generic site. It's not, you know, it's Toronto plumbing. It's not Miller's plumbing, right? Like it's very generic in that regard.
To get all those business into the system. Is that what you're trying to say? So do we still have to communicate with these people because before we put them into the website, to our website?
So I think what you're thinking of is like a directory. Here, I'm going to show you an example of like because we're not going to put all the businesses in the website. The website's going to be very like informational in the fact that it's a plumbing site, like for, you know, Toronto plumbing that's geared because we're trying to pass those leads off to one business, right? Not 20 million. Like we're not trying to be like a directory site. So hold on, let me give you an example. Okay, so like here's an example, right? Of this is, you know, an appliance repair. Okay. So like this is what it would look like.
So you're not really putting up the name of the what you call this, of the
Correct.
person itself, right?
Exactly, because remember, it's our asset. Like
Mhm.
I don't want to put the company's name because they don't own it. They're just renting it from me. They're renting my leads that are coming through, right? So that's why in this model, we hold all the control. We're not, you know, you're
So
another
how
client.
many, how many, what you call this company are we going to, how are we going to filter those companies anyways? For instance, if I can find at least 20, then I think that's too much already to put into the system, right?
Um, I'm making sure I understand the question, right? So
Sorry. Mm.
it's okay. So okay, like I'm gonna build this site. We're just gonna say like for demonstration purposes, right? It's
Yeah.
appliance repair in El Paso, Texas. Any consumer that would find this site and be like, oh, I need my washer fixed, and they call, right? They're gonna click and call. This is getting directed to one company. That's it,
Mhm.
right? One company that you decided to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
You're going to funnel all those leads, through the system automatically, all the contact form, text messages. Because again, I think that's another value play, right? Like, what companies want to compete for leads? They don't. When you call and say, hey, I want to help your business grow, and I'm going to send all the leads to you. Well, you just upped your ante, right? Your price. Like, you can demand more because you're focusing solely on them. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how the process is. And then two, I mean, you could have 10 of these websites, right? Maybe one in El Paso, one in Toronto, one in Miami, all going to different, one local companies that are based in those cities. So, I mean, you can have as many of these websites as you want at the end of the day.
So not exactly as many as what you call this appliance repair in one area.
I wouldn't necessarily do as many the appliance repair in one area because you're almost going to compete with yourself. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, so like you don't really, again, it's your business, right? You can do whatever you want, but I would say from like my perspective, I think that's harder work, right? You don't want to, that's why it's like, if you did appliance repair in El Paso and then, okay, you already know it works, right? Like, go find another city. There's thousands and thousands of cities. You do it again, right? And same thing. But that way you're adding value, which I do think is important too, right? I mean, it's not all about the money. Like, you want to help, like, you really are making a difference in these businesses' daily lives, of the fact that you're bringing them clients, growing their revenue, things like that. So yeah, I would just rinse and repeat the process in a different city.
Okay.
That clarify it a little better.
It is. It is.
So,
Okay.
like, yeah, I understand that we don't necessarily have to be concentrating on Toronto. So, but, you know, do you suggest markets that we can do? Like, let's say, because, we also want to go into the US, right?
Yeah.
And
You
market.
can go, I mean, I can suggest anything because I think any market's good, right? You just have to do the due diligence, which will teach you how to do for that niche in that specific market, right? Like, because again, everything's different. I live in Jacksonville, Florida. It could be, a great niche for this market, but then I go down, to Orlando, Florida, and it's not as good, right? So you just have to know kind of what to look for. And that's all the steps and processes that we teach you, right? Of like kind of
So,
more of those, look at population size, right? Like look at, the demographics, look at, weather, all those things. So, you'll kind of learn those variables as you go through the course.
so this website is not only for one area. It can build uh
Correct.
areas, right? And
Yes.
in different niches too.
Oh yeah. Yes. Anything. Yeah. Because the reason why we do this, right? It's easier to build. If you think from a smaller level, I mean, it's much easier to dominate a smaller area when it comes to SEO, right? And local than it is if you were trying to go national, right? Like, I mean, that's a whale of a task to get done. So we like to play smarter and build like these, you could have 30 of these sites, 40, whatever the case is, and it's much, much easier and quicker than trying to build one national appliance repair site and then try to go up against all these national companies. I mean, that's way too much work, right? And we're not trying to do that.
So for instance, for me, I'm a contractor on the side.
Oh, okay. Oh, cool.
I got different trades,
There's your
right?
first client right there. Just kidding.
So I can make
First,
so I can make those make them ask them if they're interested to be into this thing. I can put them in here, right? So for different from electrician, from plumbers, from
Yeah, of course. I mean, listen, I wouldn't even ask. Like, I would just do it because, you know, I think anyone like results speak a lot, right? Like when if like exactly, if I were to call you right now and say, and hand you a referral, right? Or a lead for contracting or whatever the case is, that speaks a lot more to you willing to want to work with me than if I were just to go to you and say, hey, like, would you want this? I mean, any business owner should want to grow, you know, they should want those things, of course, but they want to see action. And when you come at it from a different way, I think that, again, there's no reason why, you know, you're not going to get paid for it when you're handing them clients in that sense. I do
So-
the research first. So I figure out if it's a niche I would like to get into. I build the site first. And then when the leads start coming through, that's when I literally call and just start that process, right? Because I have something tangible to give them at that moment rather than just say it.
So how do you profit from this one?
Like from the sites, how do you profit from them?
Yeah, how can you make the business and how can you earn from doing this one and putting up?
Well, they're going to pay you for the leads, right? So, you know, if this will stick with this example, like the appliance repair, right? And people are calling, I'm giving those leads to a local appliance repair company. They're going to pay me for those leads. And
So
again,
for,
that ranges, right? You know,
so
for
for that,
niche.
sorry, for that company that you already put in there that they'll be calling.
Mhm.
So that company, we have to talk to them and ask them that this is will be the what you call this will be the scenario that we will be putting up into our system. Then if there's somebody calls you, this is the amount that we're going to ask you if ends up something like that, is it? I'm not so sure. So
Yes, like, yes, I think we're getting to the same point. Like, again, it's my website, but I'm calling and saying, are you wanting continual leads? Like if I, you know, do you want to have these leads? Oh, you do? Great. Okay. So, you know, this is again something we teach you, but you know, you can come up with an arrangement like 10% commission on any jobs, right? Or $100 a lead or whatever the case is. There's many ways to do this. Once that arrangement is made, then yeah, that's, you know, you get paid. And then you'll set up with them, like whether that's monthly or if you want it weekly or whatever. Again, there's no right or wrong, right? You kind of get to choose because it's your business, but we'll guide you in how we've done it, in that sense.
okay, so you're gonna be charging them per lead and it's gonna be paid in a month or in a week, depends on your arrangement with them, right?
Correct. Yes.
That's how it usually works. But how do you know that, you know, like, are they saying, oh, your leads are not good? And then because we didn't make business, can you verify that they didn't like with our?
Yeah, you can. So like that's the importance of having the call tracking system. So like hold on, I gotta find. I was like, where's the video? So like this is what the call tracking system. So every call, text, or email goes through this, right? So you're able to listen to them. You can read the text messages. You can see the contact forms. You know what's happening with your leads, right? And at the end of the day, just being realistic, sometimes businesses just really suck at being a business. Like I mean, the reality is they don't know how to close, right? They could again be really good at being a plumber, but that doesn't mean that they know how to handle more business, right? Or follow through. So again, we talk about that in the course, but maybe that's not the right business that you should be working with. So the beauty is that you can find a new plumber that's actually going to find value in your leads, right? Like that is how this works. You're never stuck because like when you're, a lot of traditional marketing agencies or, whatever, you're working for that specific client. So if they fire you, well, you just lost everything, right? You got to start from scratch and you got to go find another client and build this. Where in this sense, your leads are still coming through, right? Like you have value, you have those leads, you just move on to the next plumber. So, and you sometimes it's the first one and it's amazing. Sometimes it might take you, two plumbers or whatever the case is. But when you find that, solid relationship, I mean, why in the world would they want you to go to someone else? They don't want their competitors to have these leads, right? They want them, so you hold the control.
So how do you know if how much is the what you call this, the amount that they have talked about it? And so that if in case we say that okay, the deal was 10% for every project.
Yeah.
So they say
Um,
maybe what happened is okay, they made an agreement that okay, it's a 20,000 project, but they
mhm.
would tell me, oh, Ricky's just only 5,000 project.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, it's a totally valid question. When you start getting into those kind of deals, right? More of the bigger, like I would say higher ticket deals like that, you have to have access to some of their, CRM or whatever the case is. Like there needs to be some checks and balances for sure. And I think that's totally reasonable to ask from your guys' side. And I have before, like you get access to their CRM, hey, you can have a login to see exactly what's going on with that customer. You know what I mean? Because it's your customer at the end of the day. It's not theirs. You brought it. So, you would just have to figure out some way to find balance between you being comfortable with it and, either they give you the quotes, they give you the receipts, that kind of thing. Especially with those bigger commission deals. I mean, that's just something you're going to make money from it, right? Like when you're getting into those jobs are worth a lot more, and one job could pay you $1,000, $2,000, and so there has to be a little bit more, effort involved when it comes to the, conversations of collecting the money, but obviously you're getting paid a lot more, right? And instead of like saying, oh, just pay me $50 a lead. Okay, fine. Well, you're missing out on a lot, of money if you do it that way, but then it's something a little more hands off, a little more automatic.
Yeah, I think that's only the safest way that I could see that I just per leads. But if in case for what you call this for per project, that would be what you call this. That's so hard to what you call this to request for CRM or whatsoever. I'm not so sure if they
is it
will.
hard? You don't know yet.
No, listen, I don't think it's hard. I think that there needs to be some trust involved, right? Like they need to, again, everything in life is about relationships, right? Like if you are sending them leads and they're valuable, they're going to want to continue that. So you guys just need to have a conversation of how that's going to work. Whether you guys have a meeting once a month and go over the contracts that they've performed, right? Like, cause you can verify what's happening from calls or things through here. Like, again, you have to be comfortable with it and so do they. But I also think the longer your relationship lasts, like they're going to be comfortable with sharing, some more information about their business with you because you're adding such a value to their business, So I think that in the beginning, how I've always approached it is I always just take a commission deal, right? Because it's more comfortable for them. And it's, hey, these sites are only really costing me like $30 a month to run. Okay. Not a lot of money. So even if I'm making, 10% on any deals they close, like it's covering all my costs, plus I'm making some profit. Is it as much profit as I could make? No. But the reasoning is I'm building my value and solidifying trust with them. They know that, hey, I've gotten leads from Sarah for, 2 or 3 months now. It's been great relationship so far. So when I have a conversation with them, in 3 months and say, listen, I think that we've, proven our worth, right? This is kind of, I want to go over the numbers with you. this is what, I would like to have moving forward. You have a lot of leverage when those conversations because you've proved it to them, right? So there's a lot that can happen as long as you just are willing to kind of, stick it out.
Okay. So at the start, you just give them free leads and then
I
they will
usually give them free leads for, a couple times, like just to show. But then after that, of course, you need to have, I would say if you want me to, if you want to continue this, like just pay me 10% or, again, we'll kind of go over numbers in the course, but 10% of whatever deals you close. Okay, great. Right. And, it's building up that relationship. It's building up that solid, foundation for them.
So the company that they'll be calling will know that it is coming from my website, right?
Yeah, so there's a whisper, like through the call tracking system. Anytime a call comes through or anything like that, and it gets, immediately forwarded to the business, it'll say, hey, this is a lead from Sarah. Like, obviously the consumer doesn't hear that, but the company does. They know that that's a lead, coming from you. So they can kind of handle that. They know it's being recorded too, all that stuff.
Okay.
Okay. And so Sarah, can you tell me what are your niches? Just wanted.
I can give you an idea. I mean, listen, it's not even because I don't want to share. It's just that I think that people get really in their head about it, and I don't want you to, because, like, just because it works for me, listen, I've tried other people's niches that they're killing it and it just didn't, you know what I mean? So I really do think that you have to do research and you find, ones that somewhat interest you, or there's no right or wrong, I've done well in like the home remodel, electrical, landscaping, that kind of stuff, which, to be honest, I would have never thought because I don't like any of that stuff, like it just didn't. Like, I went into beauty, I've done, like therapy, I've done a lot of different industries, but I think that you just kind of find stuff that's working for you and then you roll with it, So I definitely, again, when we go through your due diligence, I help and can point out some stuff, but I think that there's just so much out there, like literally, I mean, you wouldn't even think of half of these. Because also too, right? Like, we only know what's in the scope of our world. Like, I mean, this is a great example. Somebody has done really well doing like commercial kitchen hood cleaning. Like, I didn't even know that was a thing, like but I'm not in the restaurant business. I don't know, like, but it makes sense, right? I mean, they have to get these kitchens cleaned, like grease fires, all that kind of stuff, like on a very regular basis. But like, that would never be like a thing to think about for me because I'm at home, I cook at home, like I don't really know that stuff. So anyways, that's just the thing that when I give you this like niche list, you start to go through and it just kind of gets your brain working to start thinking about other industries, or, even one that's kind of popular now, not even popular, I would say. I didn't even know, again, I don't have animals, so I have 3 kids, it's enough. Like, it's like dog poop service. Like, they pick up dog poop. Like, it's like a weekly thing.
Oh, that could be a lot of.
I did not know that was a business, but it is. And like, but like, again, it's just stuff like that, that starts coming up. So you just have to be open to like, looking at new opportunities. I think even when you start this too, like, you'll be driving and then you start to really start paying attention to those trucks, when you're driving down the road, because you wouldn't notice them before, but now it's on the top of your mind, right? Because there's all these new businesses all the time, services. So
Okay.
anyways, but yeah, I mean, there's plenty. And you have to think too, there's new businesses that start every single day.
Yeah, that's
Why
true.
this is such an evergreen model, because every business always needs leads, period, point blank, end of story. I don't care what's going on with, the world. they have to have a customer base. They have to have, you know, stuff moving. So that's what, you know, that's what we're able to do. Those are the skills that we're teaching you, is how to create that narrative online, you know, through an organic source to be able to facilitate that for them. And then you just rinse and repeat it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess so. Now the important question is how much is it?
Yeah, no, for sure. So you get how our course works. I'm not sure again with the other stuff you've done, but everything's like one and done, meaning it's not like a tiered thing. You don't have to pay for the coaching. It's forever. Any updates, like we just operate that way. So it's not confusing. You have access to the course forever. Same with the group. Like I said, the coaching. It's 6,000. Okay. And then you get 6 done for you sites built for you as well. And then it's 5,000 if you pay for it in full, and you'll still get the done for you sites too. But we can split it in payments if needed. You know, there's lots of options. I'm more concerned if you want to do it. I mean, the money's there if you're going to be consistent, like period. Like I said, it works, right? But you have to, you know, just be willing to put in the work behind it. And we obviously, you know, believe in that. That's why we offer the payments and stuff. But yeah.
So what's the payment? Like how much? What's the plan if there's a
For sure. I mean, listen, we can be flexible, right? Like I said, I mean, you guys know your budget. I don't, like, being honest. So, you know, can you put half down? We can split the rest up into payments. Like, you kind of, you know, lead me in the fact of what that looks like for you. And I can, you know, figure out what's the method of madness behind it. There is something too, you guys are in Canada. There is a company, like a financing company that, you know, we've utilized before in the past, that it's almost like an afterpay, if that makes, have you heard of that stuff? Like those services before? You put like a small down payment out of like your pocket. So I think it's like 20%. And then, they pay us in full, so you get it for the cheaper price, obviously, but you're allowed to make payments on it, and there's no interest. It's just, you know, they just break it up because we kind of cover like all the fees with that. So I could send you some information on that too, if you want to check it out. It's nice because, again, it's not like you're not paying any extra money, right, out of your pocket. It's just allowing you to break it up, right, on that side of it. The only thing in the US, they don't require your social, but in Canada, they will ask for it. So that's just one thing. The US is a little more lax.
Okay, so it's 6,000. So it's gonna be
5,000.
5,000 US, right? If we do-
Yes, yes. What is, I forgot the exchange rate. Hold on, let me look it up.
Oh my God, it's so expensive now.
I know, I just remember that. Listen, if you guys like, I could work with you on the exchange rate. I know it sucks. Hold on, let me figure out. Let me do the math here really quick.
So at the start, Sarah, how many
Yeah.
hours did you spend? Okay, because you were in it. Let's say the new people who joined, how many hours did they have to spend, to learn the business and to, to
Yeah,
really
yeah. I mean,
earn?
listen, I think, like I said, the course is like 40 hours, right? So just math wise, we got to get through that 40, but it's going to take you a little longer because it's your first go around, right? You're going to watch the videos, you're going to implement along with it, that kind of stuff. I had my first client when I started probably within, I don't know, I'd say about 7 weeks. Okay. That's when I had my site up. I was getting paid from a pest control company. That was my first niche, for those leads. I also remember my daughter was 2 and I had newborn twins. So it's not like I was chugging away at this for 8 hours a day. I mean, I probably did an hour a day, you know, if that, like in the beginning to kind of get this up and moving. That's all the time I really had, you know, and like I said, it was very sporadic. So, you know, you're in a position, to being honest, sounds like you have a lot more time to commit to this than I did, you know? So you can move as quick as you want. You can go as slow as you want. Again, there's no right or wrong. Like we're all going to reach the finish line. You know what I mean? But so the biggest thing is just like your expectations of what you want from this need to match the work you're putting into it, right? So like when I have students that are like, they come and be like, I want to make $10,000 in 3 months. Okay, great. You can do that. But like, you're going to put a lot more work in the beginning to get to that point. Right. And that's just the reality of any business, you know? So we just have to go over your goals. And like, that is why we have this video and we have like a goal calculator we'll go through. It can obviously always change, right? But like, we just need to be realistic with what we're doing. Like if you have these numbers in mind, okay, we need to match that, right? So we need to know what kind of output we're trying to do if you want to input this amount. So, you know,
But
that's what
yes,
we'll
there's
cover.
three of us.
Hey, that's amazing. Listen, I think that that's awesome that if you guys, you know, do it together, I think you hold yourself accountable, number one, right? Like, I mean, that's part of the problem sometimes is it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't feel like doing this right now. Be like, right? I mean, that's the reality. You're not going to get fired from this. You know, you're just not going to make money. Like, and, you know, when you have other people that can help you, you can talk about it. That's the power, just like I said, of us and the community, right? Like there is some, you know, social aspect to that I do think plays a part because when you see somebody else post like, oh my God, I just closed $1,000 deal. Listen, that kind of lights a fire under you a little bit because, well, you're like, oh, I want to, you know, I want to do that, or I can do this, things like that. So, I mean, you guys can all do this, pick parts that you like to focus on, whatever the case is, you know? So it's good.
So the
When it
5,000 is
comes to I just looked up the exchange rate. Like I could do 4,000 US. So that's it's a little less than like I think it's like 5,500-ish, you know, Canadian. So that helps
Okay, yeah,
a little.
but the company that you said, right? That
Yeah, I can email you over the link and you can it really is it's really quick. You just have to, I mean, like I said, in Canada they will ask for your more information, like it's going to run your credit basically. In the US they do like a soft check. In Canada that's one of the stipulations is it is like a hard pull. So I'll just let you know that if you want to, you know, go that route, it will do that. But again, you're not paying any interest. Like there's no fees to you guys. I mean, it's a straight cash amount. And then you just put like the down payment down, which is around 20%. And then they split the rest up into a year. So, I mean, it really does, you know, help from that side of it. So
that the best price that you can offer us?
is
I don't know. What do you want to, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, we can do it. I've done this a long time. I mean, I help run it. Like, I want you guys to be successful and you know your budget. I don't. Like, if you say, hey, I can pay cash now and it's this amount, you know, what is it? Right. Like, you know, that's, you know what that is. I don't. So like, that's what I'm saying is if it's something you truly want to do, I don't want, you know, the financials to be the reason why you're not doing it, but you got to let me know too.
Yeah,
What
we
that
will, because thing is, we really want to. We're Canadians, but we kind of like we don't like the snow. We want to move
I don't
to
like the snow
North
either.
Carolina.
Yeah.
So we're thinking of moving to North Carolina.
Oh, cool.
Hopefully this year, but we'll see. We'll see, right? Well, and that's the goal, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to move
I
there,
just
but
moved to Florida like less than a year ago. I mean, I was in Vegas before. I've moved quite often, last 10 years. So I can do this from anywhere. I mean, I have my computer and I have my phone. You-
That's the thing. This is why we want to, but like we're not gonna apply to be U.S. citizen. It's just, I just want to we just want to work with where there's no snow. We're not gonna
Yeah.
experience snow anymore.
So like be like the snowbirds kind of, yeah.
Sorry, our snowbird kind of
Yeah.
thing, right? Because we love our healthcare here as well.
I know, I know. Hey, there's pros and cons, you know what I mean? But no, I get it. But a lot of people do that, like there's people that RV full time and do this because they live, they travel and just drive around the US and, they'll stay 2 months in this campground and go here in the winter, come here in the summer. Like, this is what I'm saying. And this stuff, you have to be able to have flexibility, right? And, there's not a lot of ways to do that, without in a job situation. And I mean, again, this is something you can truly do from anywhere overseas. It doesn't matter. Like it's as big as you want, small. I think the other thing too, when you're looking at starting a business like this, like you got to look at the longevity of it. And I think like there's so many things like fads and things that are out. It just makes sense. Like I said, every business, I don't care if it's in 10 years, 20, whatever, the internet's definitely not going anywhere at all. It's only getting more and more prominent, right? Like, we can't survive without our phones. And there's just no, like, the leads might change a little bit from, hey, this new technology came out or whatever, but this foundation is not going anywhere. You can have a business that is going to be able to evolve with you and grow with you as times change. And we've all seen that, throughout the years. Like, like I said, little things change, but the core of it hasn't. So
Yeah, the local businesses really needs to be at the
oh
top.
yeah. They don't, yeah, they don't know what they're doing. You'd be so surprised. I've learned that just because you own a business does not mean you know how to run a good business. I've always would, make that assumption of people, but now I'm very aware that there's a lot of people that maybe shouldn't own a business that do, and that's okay. But like, we can help them.
That's true.
So
Okay, yeah. So Sarah, just send us that financing company.
yeah, I
right?
will. I'll do that right now, and then
Sorry, one other question. Is it okay if, because we each have our own Facebook account, is it okay to be members? Like the
yeah, yeah, of course, of course. That's, you guys can all have a login. We can, my gosh, hold on. Yeah, you guys can all have a login. You're each in the Facebook 100%. So you are good to go on that end. Okay, I'm
So,
going
and
to,
one other thing, right? So he's good with making websites, right? I'm good with research. He's good with talking to people. So can we can do that, right? Okay, create a
yeah,
website. I'll do it.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. That's kind of what I was saying though, right? Is like all of you guys are, I think like everyone has like their area they like, right? Like, you like building, maybe that's not what he likes doing. Maybe that's more of his side of it, but that's why it's even better if you have more people, right? Because you get to balance each other out, the skills, and again, you have what you excel at. So I think that's totally fine. And everyone's that way, So, okay, hold on. Let me send you the link. Okay, so I just sent it to you. You can check it out. Like I said, it takes like 2 minutes, honestly. And, there's no fees or anything like that. And you just have to put down, the 20% with it. That's an economical option, right? If you're looking to save cash flow. I mean, obviously the other option is if you have a card you want to put it on, I mean, obviously that's the cheapest route because then you can make like a minimum payment for a couple months while you get the business up and money starts coming in, take it that way. So,
So sorry, one more, one
Yeah,
real,
no, you're good. You're good.
if we really work hard on it, like the three of us, what do you think, we can earn in, like in a month or 2 months or?
Listen, I've seen a lot, okay? Like I've done this a very long time. I've seen students come in and make 20 grand their first month. Do I think that's realistic? No, but I've seen it, right? Um, I think honestly, if you set a goal by, 2 months in to have one or two clients that are paying, I'd say anywhere between 500, even $1,000. I think that's completely reasonable. Like there's a lot of tactics I could show you how to move quickly, I just want to make sure that you guys, I think the biggest thing is, you want to build a business on a solid foundation. Honestly, that's, rushing through things sometimes is not to your benefit, always. So you want to move quickly and you want to take action, but you want to do it, in a smart way. So I think that as long as that's kind of the forefront, like I said, I made my first money like 7 weeks in, and it kind of compounded from there, right? 500, then I added another 500, 1,000, I'd say by like 6 months into the program, I was making, I don't know, probably 2 to 3,000 a month consistently. But that was also me working minimal, like my priority was
Your kids?
my babies, so it was like, I wasn't putting as much time and energy into it as, what you guys are saying you could do. So the results are different. So, I mean, you just have to be realistic, set the expectations right. And again, that's why we go over your goals. You got to know something you're reaching for. So then those goals change, right? And you just continue to grow and you grow and you grow. And that's how it'll work.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I don't like to just throw numbers out there because I just think that's kind of BS away. Like I'm not here to do that. I want to set very direct expectations because I think that that's important. But, when I say the sky's the limit, it is the truth. I mean, I know people that make millions of dollars a month doing this stuff. I know people that make 5,000 a month, and guess what? They're both successful in their own right, right? It just depends on what they have different goals. They have different life things going on. So, we just got to figure out what those are for you and start chipping away.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
No, it's good. It works. Like I said, like, you know, it,
we're gonna set a high goal, because if you don't set a high goal, then it's
yeah,
always like that when, because we also were with a mentorship, we always set higher goal. At least if you're like even half of the higher goal, at least you're still good.
yeah,
Rather than
I think that
setting-
there's definitely a couple ways to look at it. You know what I mean? And sometimes though, I think when you set these high goals, sometimes it's a little daunting, in the beginning, and that doesn't motivate some people, actually scares them. So I think, to be honest, I like to do smaller goals. That's how I operate. I can chip away at a small goal because then you mentally feel accomplished, right? We're like, man, I did all that. Like even small things, like even checking off lists of simple, like I do this, like I need to do the laundry today. I need to do this. I need to do this. It's a sense of accomplishment by getting those done. Like you did that, right? So I do think there is value in setting lofty goals, but I think that there's also value in setting very reasonable goals, because remember, those goals can always move, they can always change, right? But mentally, like you're going to feel really good when you hit that mark, right? And then, okay, great, I already hit that mark, so now I'm going to up it again this month. That's totally doable. But when you keep failing, when you set such high goals, sometimes that doesn't benefit you, in my opinion. So
That's true.
again, everyone's different, so we'll go over that, but I think Dan would say the same. You need to set realistic stuff, and realistic can still be higher, right? But, hitting those and moving is going to feel a lot better than trying to get the whale right in the beginning when you don't know how to fish, right? Like that's not realistic either. So that's why we're going to teach you. And then you start fishing, and then, you know, you'll get bigger, better fish every time. And that is how a business runs, right? Like, I mean, you can't expect immediate greatness right off the bat. Like, that's just no successful business will ever, you know, talk to anybody, entrepreneur. They're going to say the same thing. So, you got to know this is for the long term. And that's an amazing thing, right? Because it's something that you're building that's going to last. And I think that's where, you know, the difference between a lot of courses and stuff now is they're going to promise you the gold tomorrow. Well, we all know that's not really the case. So if we just set, you know, the reality straight and know that, hey, this is something I'm building. And even if it's, you know, you're making 5,000-6,000 a month, you know, by the end of 6-7 months. I mean, that's a lot of money still, right? Like, you know, and then now you're going to learn more things and know more things that you, boom, set the bar to the next height, right? So it's just taking action and getting started.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, I sent that link to you. So what's the thought process? Like, do you guys want to kind of email me back after you check out the link, and we can kind of discuss options from there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We will, like right now, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Well,
Sure. Of course. You guys do that. Check out, like I
I'm
said,
the one who's really excited to, you know, to do this, but I'm not sure if, you know, because I'm the one who would, like, remember I talked to you,
no,
right?
no, no, I understand for sure. And listen, I think that, you know, you guys talk and figure out what the concerns are, if there's any, right? Or what, you know, questions you guys have, you know where to find me. And again, like I said, you can look at the link and figure out even if that's an option or route you guys want to go, because that will give you some information, you know, regarding that side of it too. But just let me know, keep me in the loop. And we'll touch base, you know, from that point.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, it was nice meeting you guys, and I'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
All right. Bye, guys. See ya.